Howdy ho, Rambler Heads. We have had a lot of you write in and say, hey, we want to see your boat, especially after living on it for 6 months. And now that you moved, what's it like? Can you give us a tour? Why, yes, that's why we're here today. We're going to give you a tour of Horizon Bound, both inside and out. I'm standing on the bow of our boat, and this is the front of the boat, as you can see. We've got our anchor hanging off the front, our burgees, and we've got our fender holders. Let me give you a quick tour while we're here. The front of the boat is important. It's where I do a lot of things as a first mate. As you can see, when you are coming into a marina that doesn't have long docks, you may have to use a pier pole here, which is always good and fun for flipping and trying to get it onto the line onto the pier. So sometimes I have to lasso it, sometimes I have to hook it, or sometimes we use a brand new tool we just got because lassoing and hooking doesn't always work with current and wind and balance. So the bow is here, and at the front of the bow too, if you look up, we also have our spotlight, we have our Kallenberger horns, and there is the bridge. So lots of activity here on the bow of the boat. There's our anchor chain. We have 200 feet of chain that is attached to that big Vulcan Rockna anchor. So we've got that. We've got our burgees. Now burgees are kind of fun because they tell you they are like significant to places you've been or clubs you have joined. This one was made by the AGLCA, the Americans Great Loop Association, and we carry that to identify ourselves as a looper, as many other looper boats do. On the bottom is where we normally keep our Horizon Bound burgee that Jake Gabbert Media designed for us. He designed our logo and made our burgee. The reason it's not on there yet, because this is a working boat, and Captain Dan is currently staining all of our wooden items here on the boat. Here on Horizon Bound, we have 2 Kallenberg horns. They are almost as good as the Disney cruise ship horns. All right, let's take a listen. Captain Dan? They're loud. Here is the bridge, or the top of the boat, with its cover on. And here's our bridge without the cover. So let's go up top here and take a look. So we have benches with storage underneath. We have the captain's chair, the first mate's chair, and more benches with more storage. Here's a look from up top. Looking down at the bow, you recognize that. And I want to point out some of the things that we like to use and little hacks we found. One of the hacks are these little containers that you can buy at a marine store. They're for fishing boats usually, but I found that they hold all my things when we're underway. My sunglasses stick really nicely in these little holes, which were designed for, I think, hooks, and all of this. So it's really nice to have these little containers. Also, a lot of things I put in baggies or containers because if we do hit a rogue wave and it splashes up, things will get wet. So everything's kind of protected in that. This is where I sit. I'm a little short, so I got a little booster seat for me so I can see better. And Captain Dan has a little thing for his back. That helps too. We ended up purchasing an extra refrigerator slash freezer right there, a little mini one that we keep up here. It's like a big cooler, but it is a refrigerator, and that has to be plugged in, but it also works on battery. You know, like your lighter that you plug in. And then this is all storage. One thing about boats is you have to have storage, lots of storage for all of your things. Now you're asking, wow, you have a lot of storage for all of your clothes and shoes. Well, I wish, but no, because a lot of the storage, because this is our home and we live on a boat, think of everything that you have in your garage, your attic, your basement, your junk drawer, your extra room. We had to purge all of that and get rid of it, but at the same time we had to keep very important things. So a lot of that sort of thing is under here. Another thing about living on a boat, you have to have all the safety equipment, fire extinguishers, life jackets, extra life jackets for guests, all the tools, extra parts for everything, oil, etc., etc. So all of that has to be on the boat. And fire extinguishers have to be out and ready to go. So they're all up top or in every room that we can, and they're right on the floor, right where we can grab them. And again, they have to be adhered to something so they don't roll or fall over while we're underway. So all that has to be taken into consideration.
Okay, now we're in the upper helm. This is basically duplicates what we have in the lower helm, but these are larger displays. These are 12-inch displays. Again, I can put whatever information I want in each display. I can put the radar on one and the chart plotter on the other, or however I want to do it. 2 sets of gauges, obviously, for the 2 engines. Throttles, gear shifts. This radio up here is a new one we put in. It's got a speaker built into the handset, so I can put it up to my ear like a phone, so I can actually hear it, which is always nice. And depth gauge, autopilot, or whatever I want to put in there. That's another multi-function instrument. The autopilot control is over here on this one, but I just purchased a remote we're going to install, and I'll be able to hand hold that anywhere in the boat. It's going to be a wireless remote. And we prefer to drive up here in the upper helm whenever the weather permits. The visibility is much better, and it's just nice to be up where we can be in the nature.
As we leave the bridge, I head down the 2 steps to the middeck. The middeck is where we have tools and things in here. Again, more safety equipment as well. It's a nice little place. There's a window that leads to our galley. It's a great viewing place, as you can plainly see. And one of my favorite places to sit is right here. I can lay out in the sun right here on this wonderful cushion. If you notice, we have screens on our bridge. We had these made right before we left because when we bought the boat, there was nothing up there. Some people have like glass or plastic glass. We opted for just the screens, but these screens are special because they're super fine, and they are made for those no-see-em bugs down in Florida. So it's a really tight wove. It also knocks the wind down a little bit, but great idea. And we can take them all off or take partials off whenever we want. So we do have screens for our bridge. Another important item on our boat, on the middeck, located on the middeck, is our Magma grill. It's hooked onto the rail, and we can do all of our grilling here. I like veggies, Dan likes meat. So there we have that. And we also have on our mast, we have hung all of our burgees. And our burgees are someplace that just tells us where we've been or different clubs we have joined. So this is Macrae Yacht Club from our hometown near Detroit. This is Green Turtle Bay, one of our ports we went to. We also belong to the Marine Trawler Association, and we have all of these different burgees kind of representing where we're at. At the very top is an American flag and a courtesy Canadian flag. Here's some of the wood Captain Dan is working on, but what's really neat about this is like a extra doorway that opens, and it's a nice window. We put a screen in there that goes right into our bedroom. He's also working on this flagpole because the salt water was just eating it all up. So a nice fresh coat of oil. Now here's our dinghy. It comes up like this, crank, crank, crank. The engine stays parallel and the dinghy rides like this. When we want to drop it, we drop it down, uncrank, crank, 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 go down and go for a dinghy ride. That rides on the back of our boat. There's our dinghy. We opted to put our name also on the back because when we're riding, you can't see the name on the stern of our boat. I'll walk over here so you can see the name on the stern. Since we went all in, we sold our cars as well. So what we use as our boat, our dinghy, and we both got e-bikes. So in this particular place, in Clearwater Beach Marina, Municipal Marina, we just docked our bikes and locked them up to the poles. So they're there and safe, and when we're ready to go, we take them out of their garage, their little sacks, and take off. I'm standing in the salon of our boat, and the salon is basically your living area. As you can see, we have some couches on both sides, a love seat, we have a couple little tables, we have our helm where we can drive from inside the boat, and we also have our galley. So let's take a look. On a boat, yet storage is key, so we found that command hooks are great. So we've been using those for things that we need to use quickly, by the door, things to grab. We also use them for hats and coats, but command hooks are super important. We also have a solar pack for our phones. That's a nice little addition when we're outside somewhere where we don't have electricity. Some other gadgets Captain Dan and I use are our headsets / what they call AKA marriage savers. Because sometimes docking can be tricky, and with him up top it sounds like he's yelling and I'm yelling and everybody's yelling. But this way we wear these when we're docking or coming in somewhere, and we can hear each other. I also like to wear these when I'm on the outside of the boat and I can walk around the gunnel of the boat, but I can be in contact with Captain Dan. So I can say, Captain Dan, I'm on the stern port side. I'm fixing the back fender, and he knows exactly where I'm at and what I'm doing. So having these marriage savers really helps a lot for communication. Another gadget we have that I like too is called a koala, and basically it was made for snow skiers. But the koala, I put my phone in here and I snap the corners in, and it's got a really great hook or alligator clip that is super duper strong, and this can stretch to selfie length, but it keeps your phone safe, not just in your hand. It holds your phone to you. So you clip this onto something on you and your phone is wrapped in this, and it kind of keeps it safe so it doesn't fall into the water. In the back of the Salon, on the starboard side, which is the right side of the boat if you are looking forward, is our galley. A galley is the nautical term for kitchen. So we have some drawers and some cupboards. We have a microwave. We brought an oven, and we just kind of do it this way. We also have a stove, obviously a sink, and it works out really well. Here's some of our charging station plugs. These are great to have on a boat because you are always using some sort of electricity when you're in the marina. And then a little decorations from home. So my old license plate from Michigan, and some cool tiki cups. If we look more toward the stern port side, we have some other touches of Michigan. A beautiful art painting. It's really pretty. I love it. And then some important notes. Here's our map that we like to check off as we travel along. We find that baskets or little bins, collapsible bins, are great for storage. They look a little nicer than just things stuck on top of things. And these clips we use for everything, especially like we hang things outside to dry. Towels, we use them to hang up something like a towel so the sun isn't shining in our eyes. But these are like invaluable. I would highly recommend getting a bunch of clips if you plan on doing some major boating. The refrigerator is not very big. It's like a mid-size. It's not bad. What's nice about it, I have to tell you, is that we eat everything in there before we buy new. That's kind of like our rule. If we start, if it was a big refrigerator, I'd be afraid that we would always have food in there that we're not eating. And as you can see, a little taste of home, just from all of our places we've been or things that remind me of something, are my magnets. Now this cupboard here has our beautiful anchor lamp that we love. Now that we brought with us for the boat, and I want to show you a couple other tidbits that are super important when you have things on the boat. This has not moved for over 2 years. It's adhered to there, and I'll tell you what I used. I used something called museum putty. Again, available online, museum putty, and it really keeps things down hard. I never have to stow that away when we're underway because in big waves. I mean, we crossed the Gulf and we didn't have any problems. Nothing ever gets shaken. So that's really, really good for things sitting horizontal. I've tried them for vertical things as well, like picture frames. It works 80% of the time. It starts to slide after a while, but for horizontal surfaces, this is great. And of course I have little things with knickknacks, but important things inside each one of these. Now, these are very important. You're going to see this all over the boat, these little extra grippers. Those are important because they also keep things still. These never move while we're underway, and they don't move anywhere other than right there. They stay put. So you need to use those gripper cloths. Space is minimal on our boat, so this is a really nice table. We can make it 3 different ways. So it's full for like dining, half full, half fold, or full fold. And it just makes a little more room in the boat. And storage again is key. So we went and got some of these. They're great for putting your feet on, for a footrest, for so many other things. Sitting on, we use these to sit on if we have 4 people for dinner as guests. But what I keep in here are shoes. Yay, shoes. So Captain Dan just joined us on our tour. Howdy, Captain Dan.
Hello. All right, so this is the lower helm station. We drive down here when the weather's not the greatest or whatever. And so what we've got here is we've got 2 8-inch multifunction displays. I can put various information in these. I've got the chart plotter in here right now. This is a thing with several different bits of information I can use, or I can change it. If I'm backing in, I can put on a backup camera. These are the throttles. These are the gear shifts. This is the autopilot control. I can add or minus a degree or 10 at a time. Over here is another GPS. This is an older, it's a unit we use as a backup. I like to keep this running just in case we need another chart. I use that primarily for the trip odometer. Up above is we got a wind meter here, anemometer, is the right word. The VHF radio, and then we got this is our AIS unit. Robin likes to keep that covered because it's too bright at night. Stereo, just regular old barometer and level meter. And under here, I usually have out while we're running, whether I'm driving from up above or down here, we have a program called Navionics that we do on this iPad, and that is where we kind of actually plot our course and figure out where we're going to go, and that's probably our primary navigation tool right there.
Another hack or tip, I have these little folders everywhere. Some have like the boat documentation information in it, other boat information, but this one it takes a long time to start, but once you start it, it's really good. I call it my boat inventory, part inventory, or item location chart. And yes, I made a spreadsheet where everything is in the boat. So where is the first aid kit? Where are the flares? Where are the extra life jackets? All the way to where is a lighter, scissors, and then of course our safety list. Where are all the anchors and lines, etc., blah blah blah. And I even went as far as every part we own, every little extra part, and we also have one for what's where in the boat, as in what's in the top drawer, what's in the pantry. So these are really good to have because, believe it or not, even though the boat's only 36 by 12 and a half, sometimes you can't remember where you put things. And here's a cool way that loopers communicate with each other so you don't forget. So everybody has some kind of a boat card, and it has their boat name on it. It has their other information. So we keep these in here. I scan them in my phone, but I do keep them because they are fun to look at. So everybody has a boat card. You trade boat cards with each other at Docktails. So we keep them in this little binder. Our boat card looks like this. So this is the front of our boat card. And on the back of our boat card is all of our information. And then if you scan that QRI, it goes right to all 3 of our social media sites. So that's pretty cool. These are designed by Jake Gabbert Media. Highly recommend him. He did our logos. He does our animation for our YouTube videos. I'll put that link down below. So Jake Gabbert Media, awesome. Boat cards on the loop. Our boat isn't very big, so we have to have a little bit of home with us. So we just brought a couple things, some pictures. I'm a big Mickey Mouse fan, Disney fan, so I have all my little Mickey things. Binoculars, which are very, very important to have on a boat, just to spot things. And our spearmint and rosemary. Look at me, I have a green thumb. Since we're at the helm of the boat, I wanted to show you something that we purchased on the internet. Other loopers have suggested this long ago, and we use this. This is a golf laser rangefinder. We just got an inexpensive one, but it's really good for if you're anchoring out, you can look into it and you can read how far you are from shore, 10 feet from shore, 22 feet from shore. So it gives you an idea of how much room you have to lay your anchor. So a laser rangefinder, a nice little tip, a nice little hack for anchoring out. Down below in the forward toward the bow, we call this the forward berth, is our spare bedroom. Now what we use it for is storage, because basically when we went all in, everything we own is on this boat. So we have some storage things. Things I find really useful are containers and baggies, and keep things right where they should be. So we have lots of storage things in here. We just went grocery shopping, so we have a lot of stuff in here. Also in here is a hanging closet. This is where Dan, or they call it a hanging locker. This is where Dan keeps his clothing, and it's a cedar locker. Now this bed underneath here actually fills in. There's a cushion that fills in just like a camper. And it's a nice bed. There's its own head in here, and the head is another word for bathroom on a boat. And then that door closes, so it can be for privacy. We've had guests on here in the past, and there is room enough for people who are like 6'4", so it's a really good size bed, and it's comfortable, so you can always come and visit us, but you have to help us move the stuff out so you can sleep in. All right, let me show you the head. This is the forward head, or the forward bathroom, and as you can see, every little piece of space we use for storage. So we have some storage in here. This is our ice maker, which we love so much, believe me, because it saves on buying ice all the time. It's great for beverages. The little ice maker inside is really good when we are underway. I mean, when we are at the marinas, because we can plug it in. We have a nice window here, and we close this up with a curtain for privacy. But again, more storage, a little sink, and a teeny little toilet. It's actually quite a good toilet. There's our toilet. You want to see what that looks like inside? There it is. This is the flusher. So you flush, you push this button, and it goes. So there we go. Here's the forward head. I'm now heading toward the aft, toward the stern, toward the back of the boat, and I'm going to go down below here. And this is, I guess, the master berth. This is where Dan and I sleep, and this is a queen size bed. It's very comfortable, very nice cushion. On a boat, the beds are a little curved on the end, at least this boat is, so you can get around. So it is a walk around, which is quite nice. So this is our bedroom. We have more space here, but again, every little spot is used for storage, anything we could find. And again, command hooks came in handy. We're able to hang some of our clothing or coats. So this is the master berth, and right next to our bed, literally a step away, is the bathroom, or the head. So show you around. There I am in the mirror. Hello. And we have a sink. We have the same toilet in this one as in the forward head. And we also have a shower. Now the shower we don't use very often, and it's basically, I'm going to show you, for our laundry and for our towels. But we just empty that out really quick if we do want to shower in here. So this is our bathroom. Ta-da! Hope you enjoyed your tour of Horizon Bound, both inside and out. I'm First Mate Robin at Clearwater Beach Municipal Marina.